Yeah, and it's,
wash your feet, go and do your simple prayer.
yeah,
And you go and do your darshan and stuff.
yeah.
And you sit down for a few minutes, and then you leave.
And there is, like, there is also a comfort and a good thing in repetition. That's why, like, at Christmas, we sing the same songs, we, you know, yeah. Okay. Oh, let me come measure you for a moment.
Oh, no.
Okay, so. It wasn't working.
I think if we don't read that, I think what we're
That's true.
saying is, you know.
Okay.
That's what.
Oh, we're streaming though now too, so just a warning.
Yeah?
Okay, we'll try not to,
And you did it.
I don't know what we, let's not talk about Joel right now because we're streaming.
We're streaming. Is the audio good?
Is it, can you talk in there?
Can I talk in here?
No, to the,
Yeah. Can you hear me? Check, check, check.
Pretty light.
Hello.
Now it's better. Just talk right into it.
Right into it.
It's like,
Check, check. Yeah. Check, check, check. Check, 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 check. Check, check, check.
well, no, those are, these are the hours that. No, they had, they have their.
This will take a time. Okay, so when she starts to do it, so, got it. So it's other ones, you guys are doing it at a different rhythm. Practicing this,
Well, I got
Was that the prelude? Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. How's everybody today? All right. Good morning and welcome to Live Oak. Please rise in body or spirit for our gathering hymn, number 39, Bring, O Morn, Thy Music.
Good morning and welcome, beloved community. I'm Reverend Joanna. In this sacred space, we gather as one, celebrating the tapestry of our diversity, honoring the boundless love that unites us all. Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church is unambiguously, unapologetically progressive, and our doors swing wide to embrace all who seek a welcoming place where we celebrate the LGBTQIA+ community, where we know that every identity is a divine expression of humanity, where we commit to the work of dismantling systemic racism and other oppressions, striving for a world where equity, compassion, and justice are the cornerstones of our shared existence. May our worship today be a source of inspiration, a wellspring of courage, and a call to action. Welcome, dear friends, to this place of love, acceptance, and progress.
My name's Ram Santanam, and I want to give you all a very special welcome to any visitors we have today, in person and online. If you haven't already, I encourage you to stop by our visitors table in the narthex, which is right behind you, after the service to sign up for our weekly email newsletter, and so we can meet you and answer any questions you may have. Unitarian Universalism is a non-creedal faith. There are no doctrines you have to agree with in order to belong here. Instead, we are held together by covenant, our promises to each other in this church and within our religious tradition. Please join me in these words from our historic faith.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We unite with UU churches around the world by lighting our flaming chalice, the symbol of our religion. Today, Lucian will be lighting the chalice. Here and at home, we light it today with these words. This chalice is lit for you by Tara Humphreys. Whether you are from the south, the east, the north, or the west, Whether you're born into this faith, found it, or it found you. Whether you feel at home or are still trying to find your place. Whether you believe in God, are open to mystery, or still have no idea. Whether you're unemployed, underemployed, cobbling things together, overworking, or in school. Whether you're holding anxiety, grief, confusion, anger, hope, restlessness, or deep peace. Unitarian Universalism has a place for you. All is right here, and this chalice is lit for you.
Yeah, God is the poor may be in Rome.
Our reading comes from God is a Verb, from the book Science and the Search for God, Spirituality for the 21st Century by Gary Kowalski. We are an outgrowth of the same process that produced the universe in all its splendor, and our own identity is inseparable from the relational synergy that vivifies our cosmos. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. It may no longer be possible to believe in a deity that is omnipotent or immutable, but in the one who accompanies all creation and invites us to expand the horizons of our concern for all the earth. We can still affirm that God is life and God is love. It may no longer be appropriate to pray to a Lord who is ruler of the universe, standing outside of nature, intervening from above, but with the living whole as our companion, then even in our moments of inwardness and solitude, we can never really be abandoned or alone. Thus ends our reading.
For the past 31 years, Live Oak has been a beacon of acceptance, love, and inclusivity in an area where our values often challenge the status quo. In a world where divisiveness and intolerance seem to be growing stronger, we firmly believe in the transformative power of our faith and the positive impact that we are having in our area. We invite you to make a financial contribution to help sustain this church's vital work, knowing that every gift, large and small, is appreciated and carefully used in service to our mission. Now, stewardship in our church takes many forms, and all of them are gifts. Gifts of money, gifts of time, and gifts of service. Today, we recognize the gift of service with the Bronze Acorn Award, given to a team that exemplifies the giving of time and talent to help Live Oak advance our mission. Would the Live Oak members of the Adult Basic Education and English as a Second Language teams please come forward? And they can't all be here today, so I'll also call the names. Please come forward. John Durbin, Allison Dieter, Kim Ono, Patty Schneider, Marjorie Taylor, Jeannie Wiggerman, and of course, Mary Hinkstebeck. The literacy program at Live Oak is made up of two parts: adult basic education tutoring and English as a second language, or ESL classes. And these volunteers work with adult students at all levels to increase their skills with reading, writing, speaking English, and more. And in doing so, they are helping the students gain more agency and power in their own success. So please join me in celebrating and showing our appreciation for this important work. Do that, and get them to come and get their pens. And your financial gifts allow us to continue this kind of good work. So let this time of offering be a reflection of our shared commitment to making a positive impact on the world, and a reminder that our Unitarian Universalist values guide us not only in our values, but also in our actions. Thank you for your presence and your contributions to our ongoing journey of building the beloved community here and in our wider parish.
Still free.
It's our wondering time. This morning I want to do something different. I want to invite all the kids to come down to the front with me. And you can just have a seat. We're missing a step. Isn't this kind of cool? You got like that. You can sit here or you can sit right on the rug. What a long walk. I hope you're not tired from your long walk. Come on up, friends. An hour long? I did too. I love that. We heard owl. There you go. So I have a question for you guys this morning. And it's for the adults too. Do you what? You heard a wolf. Cool. Oh, an owl and a wolf. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a story though, but I want you to put on your thinking caps. Put on your thinking caps, adults and kids. Think of a teacher you had in your life that was just awesome. Got that person in your mind? They were probably really good at what they did, and they were probably really kind. Yeah? So I want to tell you, all your teachers, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to tell you a story about a very particular teacher named Sophia. And Sophia was a teacher in a town, and she'd been a teacher so long that the kids that she had grew up, and then they had kids, and then those kids were in her class too. So pretty much the whole town knew Sophia. They loved her because she was such a good teacher, and she was so kind, just a kind person. Well, one day as she's walking to work and the birds are singing and the trees are blowing in the breeze and everything, she walks into her classroom and there's a note on her desk. Yes. Right? Ren, you want to read the note? Awesome. Here.
Dear Sophia, I will be around tomorrow. I wonder if I might stop by your house for tea tomorrow afternoon. Your friend, God.
Is this a joke, she thought? Oh, what do you mean you're going to be around tomorrow? And it's going to be, thank you. And you're going to visit me. Is this a joke? But what if it's not a joke? What if it's not a joke? So she goes through her day, and on her way home, she's like, if it's not a joke, I think I should be ready because God's a pretty important guest to have. So she stopped and she bought a welcome mat. And when she got home, she put it at the front door, and then she went to the grocery store and she bought all sorts of wonderful things because if God's coming to visit, she should probably have something, right? So she's like, well, maybe we'll have tea. We'll have tea. Well, I wonder what kind of tea God likes. Does he like hot tea or cold tea? Oh, and if you have tea, you might be hungry. So maybe I should fix something to eat. And maybe I should, what about lemonade? We should have lemonade. So she fixes a casserole and a fruit salad, and she makes hot tea and cold tea and lemonade, and she cleans her house until it's absolutely sparkly. Have you guys ever helped your parents or your grown-ups clean your house till it was absolutely sparkly? Yeah, usually it's when we're going to have a guest. Let's be honest. Oh, okay. So, well, she was ready for God. She had bread baking and cookies cooking, and guess what? She heard. And her heart went. She wasn't sure who she was going to meet on the other side, right? It's not every day that you meet God. And she opens the door, and it's the mayor. And the mayor's like, Sophia, I was walking by and I smelt bread and it smelled so wonderful. I thought I'd stop in and say hi. And she's like, welcome, Mayor, come on in. And they sat down and she gave him bread and butter and they had hot tea together and they were talking about the town and all the wonderful things happening. And guess what? She heard the door again. And she's very, pat, pat. And she walks to the door, and she opens the door, and it's the whole bunch of kids from her neighborhood and from her class. And they're like, Miss Sophia, we were going by, and we smelled all the cookies. Can we have a cookie?
she's like, come on in. Yes, there's somebody important stopping by today, and you might like to meet them. And so they come in, and she gives them tea and lemonade and cookies, and they're all eating, and they're having a great time, and the kids are giving advice to the mayor because, they need things that he needs good advice from kids. And guess what? Bam, bam, bam. Her heart pats again. Oh my goodness, who could it be? Okay, this is it. This is it. She opens the door, and it's the whole Women's Covenant group from church. Sophia, we were walking by on our way to the park, and we smelled all this wonderful food, and we thought, you might be having a party. And she's like, yes, I am. I'm expecting somebody really important that you might like to get to know. Come on in. And the next thing you know, half the town was in her house. Yeah, they're eating casserole, they're having fruit salad, they're playing music, they're playing games, having conversations, having a great time. And the day just keeps going and going and going. And next thing you know, they're like, well, let's make dinner. So they're making dinner, and then the moon comes up, and it's just the most glorious day filled with community and with love. And everybody goes home, and Sophia goes to bed. And she wakes up in the morning and goes, oh, wait a minute. Where's God? God said he was going to stop by, and I didn't see God. Ooh. She walks to work, and there's a note on her desk. Somebody want to read it? Alex? I'll hold it for you. I'll make it easier.
Dear Sophia, I had such a wonderful time yesterday. The bread was delicious, the cookies were divine. Tea mixed with lemonade is my very favorite. Thank you for being such a wonderful host. I hope we can do it again soon. Love, God.
Who do you think was God? Half the town. You think half the town is God? What do you think? The children? Ren? Everyone. So, we just heard this song about what if God is a verb? So, if you're looking for the noun, remember proper nouns, like that would be Ren or Alex or Arden, a proper noun, a person. But what if God is a verb? A verb is an action word, right? A verb is something that we do. So, I think you're right on it. Think about it. What did Sophia do? She made her home welcoming. She welcomed everybody in. She cooked for people. She did things. People came together, and they played together, and they sang together, and they were in community together. God is a verb because God was there, because everybody was there being kind. They did dance. They did. Yeah. So I want you to think about how can you be a verb in what you do? What can you go out into the world, and how can you be inviting and invite people into our faith and into our world? And with that, our story is ended. Thank you so much for your help. Thank you for helping me tell the story. Are you guys ready? Let's go.
Please rise as you're willing and able for hymn number 352, Find a Stillness.
So, a couple of Sundays ago, I and a bunch of people, maybe you were one of them, went out into the fellowship hall to play some getting to know you games. Even some of the introverts had fun. And one of the games that we played is called Continuum. And it's where you clear a long space, like for a long line of people, and then you throw out a topic that has kind of a continuum in it, a spectrum, and you get people to arrange themselves to where they think they belong on that continuum. And you can throw out anything, things like dog lovers and cat lovers, right? So we have the dog lovers over here, we have the cat lovers over here, those that love both, they're kind of right in the middle. Thankfully, we didn't have anyone say, I hate cats and dogs, I am nowhere on this spectrum. All kinds of things. Are you competitive or not competitive? That was an interesting one to see. Do you like scary movies or hate scary movies? By the way, the minority who love scary movies, I think that y'all need to create like a little covenant group, maybe a support group. Are you a Halloween lover or a Christmas lover? Some of us trying to straddle, that we're not really in the middle. We're passionate on both. And then the fun question to always ask a bunch of Unitarian Universalists, theist, atheist, the God people, the not God people. So people start arranging themselves, and then several people ask the most pertinent question, what do you mean by God? Right? Which is exactly, those who ask the question, bravo, that is exactly the right question to ask. Because depending on the definition of God, many of us could be anywhere along that spectrum. I mean, that definition of God, of unchanging and all-knowing and all-powerful, miss me with that one. But there are other definitions. There are so many different understandings of what God is. We may not always be aware of them because in the culture that we live in, so much of the definition of what God is dominated by Christian culture. It's a loud noise, and it's hard to kind of get past that noise to understand that there's so many different ways of seeing what is larger than ourselves, what is the divine. Heck, there's so many different names for God, right? Are you talking about Kali? Are you talking about Jesus, God, Goddess? So many different ways. Love, science. I had one person say, yes, I'm a theist. I define God as science. So today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about one particular concept of God that has influenced Unitarian Universalism. Now, let me remind everyone, Unitarian Universalism does not have a definition of God, either to reject or to affirm, right? That whole thing is something that is part of your free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And the gods that we reject are also very important. That tells us a lot about our values and our beliefs. Occasionally I will run into someone, and when they find out that I am a minister, they will say, well, I don't believe in God. If I only have a couple of seconds with them, I'll say, you would really fit in with our church, most likely. But if I have time to get into a deeper conversation, I will say, tell me about the God that you don't believe in. Because most likely I don't believe in that God either. And it's important to know what we reject and why we reject it. But this idea of God that I'm going to share today is called process theology. And it has had a significant influence within Unitarian Universalism, and Unitarian Universalism has had a big influence on it as well. So, it starts with quantum mechanics. I'm not going to explain quantum mechanics today. I will probably never explain quantum mechanics. Above my pay grade. But the pertinent part of it is quantum mechanics deals with the idea that all of matter can be simultaneously have both the aspects of a particle, a thing, as well as a wave that can shape energy. Okay? So, influenced by this, Alfred North Whitehead, he was a philosopher, he was also a mathematician, and he began taking that idea and expanding it in philosophy to the idea that this gives us insight about what reality is. And specifically, that reality is not something static, and reality is not made up of a bunch of objects, but instead, reality is ever growing, ever changing, ever moving, and that rather than things, including us, being objects, we are events. We are also part of this movement, which, at least to me, when you think about it, I mean, I also think it's kind of trippy to think about. But when you start thinking about it, there's some sense in that, right? Right now, you are changing. There may be ideas that you hear today that change you, that change the actions that you're going to do, but also physically. Like physiologically, right now you are changing. Cells in your body are dying and regenerating. I am a different person than I was a week ago because there were events that happened in my life this week that have changed me in some large or small way, but also on a cellular level. I am not exactly the same as I was a week ago. Now, also part of Whitehead's theory was that was the interconnectedness of everything. That everything is interconnected and you can't know something in and of itself because what you know it by is its relations with other things. He said the misconception which has haunted philosophic literature throughout the centuries is the notion of independent existence. There is no such mode of existence. Every entity is only to be understood in terms of the way in which it is interwoven with the rest of the universe. And so for Whitehead, this idea of everything being ever-changing, the entire universe, reality as we know it, was not just about living things, things that we would easily say are living, plants, humans, animals, but also those things like rocks, mountains, because depending on their relationship with the things around them, they change too, right? A rock today, 1,000 years from now, will be something different. And so, for Whitehead, all of reality is both interconnected and constantly changing. Now, he was already bringing in some ideas about God into this, but the person that really is credited with taking this from process philosophy to process theology was Charles Hartshorne. And listen to how I'm saying his name, just trivia, Hartshorne, like a horn. So he was a student of Whitehead. And he took this idea and moved it into theology, and especially the whole idea of God. Hartshorne was not a Christian, but this whole idea seemed to him to be something that Christians talked about, rabbis talked about, Hindus talked about, Buddhists talked about, right, with oneness. And so he imagined what a God, if you referred to God, when you thought of God, if you thought of God not as a thing, not as a personalized being, but as a process, and a process that all of us were part of, this would be process theology. So you know how any of you grow up, you don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to, but anyone grow up in a conservative Christian household? Yeah, you probably heard a thing about God is unchanging, right? What's the thing? God is the same yesterday. Yes, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I've also heard it as God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Process theology absolutely rejects that idea and says, no, the whole universe is ever changing. We are ever changing. And so God, therefore, could be this process, and all of us are a part of it. Everything in nature, the whole vast universe is part of it, and it is all relational. And some of the process theologians will often talk about this as process relational theory. And in this idea, Hartshorne brought in the idea of panentheism. So a little bit of definition here. So pantheism, which is not part of process, is the idea that God is the world is God. Panentheism says the world is in God, and God is more than the world. Those are the words of my colleague and friend Carl Gregg. He goes on to explain it as deism. Some of you have heard of deism. Deism is God and the world as totally separate, right? The whole clockmaker idea. Pantheism is a one-to-one correlation between God and the world, literally all God. The world is divine, but there is no separate God out there. That's pantheism. Panentheism is a middle way, all in God. The divine totally suffuses the world. All is holy. The whole world, the universe is in God, but God is also something more and beyond, immanence and transcendence. So this was the idea that has developed in this faith, that everything is a part of God, and God is this process. God is the change, the progress that happens in the world. And in most process theologians, because again, you have this idea of panentheism, that God is not just what we are, the universe. God is also something out of it. In this view, God, and let me pause for a second, because I know that I struggle with, whenever I hear God, my brain immediately goes to like that personalized God. So if you need to kind of pause that and think of it as a force in the universe, use the word force, use your theological translator, whatever works for you. So this non-neutral God does not work through coercion, but entices us toward love and toward what is good. Often this works people who are prone towards religious naturalism and the idea that there is something in all of us that pulls us towards what is good. Those things are congruent. And another one of my colleagues, Elizabeth Stevens, I love this metaphor that she uses. I'm going somewhere with this. She says, in process theology, God, or the spirit of life, or the creative spirit, or goodness, or love, insert whatever word works for you. God works like the scent of pancakes in the morning, right? Like you want to get your family up, but you don't want to go banging on all the doors. Make pancakes. She says, to awaken longings in the heart, luring not just people, but all of creation forward in a continually unfolding process of growing and becoming. If you are interested in process theology, there are some books that I can recommend to you. Grab me after the service or shoot me an email. I am giving you just a taste of what it is. The main thing being that it is about relationship, and it is about something that is constantly changing. But I will say, whenever we are getting into these deep questions, what I find most interesting is when people say, here's what I believe, or here's the idea that appeals to me. And that's something we really want to do this year. As we embark on our year of talking about these big questions, and it can be hard. Like, it's a vulnerability, even in a UU church, in some ways especially in a UU church, to have these conversations. Yes, in a conservative church, those conversations are hard because there is a definite answer, right? It can be hard here because we are talking about things that we cannot prove. We're talking about things that are outside of us, and we are talking about things that bring in our values and our beliefs. And yet it is through those conversations that we all can continue growing. And even to listen to those conversations. As I've said before, this is something I think all of us have to work to nurture in ourselves. Right now we live in such a divided world. It's so hard to turn off the part of our brain that we use for assessing and deciding the validity of something that we are hearing. And instead, with us, with each other, because we are a covenantal community, we can sit and simply bear witness to what the other person believes. So if I'm asking you to do that, I guess I should do it too. So here's why process theology, for me, again, if this is your first time here, the minister holds no particular authority around your beliefs, so I'm speaking just for me. But the reason why process theology, at least at this moment in my life, is what works for me to try and understand the force, is number one, for me, it seems logical. I see change happening all of the time. Number two, it is relational. And I see how our relationships with each other, how we change, but also simply the whole world. The idea that Unitarian Theodore Parker spoke of the arc of the universe bending toward justice, and the idea that many, including Barack Obama, have talked about of, yes, it does, but it requires us to bring our weight upon it. To me, that absolutely works with process theology. And what really hits my heart is that process theology, along with the intellectual and the theorizing and all of that, because it is relational, it opens up a space to where if we want to be in relationship with the force, the divine, God, we can still do that. We can still say, whatever this force is, it is something that I will never fully understand, and yet because I am a part of it, I can connect. I can call it God. I can pray. I can meditate, and for brief moments feel my connection with the oneness that encompasses us all. And for me, at this point in my life, that's something powerful. You know, there is an old gospel song that I tell you I never heard growing up in a Unitarian church, but there's something about it that just resonates in my heart. And kind of like Julianne did on One of Us, I will occasionally change the pronouns. And she walks with me, and she talks with me, and she tells me I am her own. and the love we share while we tarry there, none other has ever known. There's something about that. There's something about the idea of being held within a love. And so for me, quantum mechanics, an arc of the universe, and limitless, undying love that shines around me like a million suns and calls me on and on across the universe. Process theology holds all of that. And so for right now, that's the model that works for me. Okay, your turn. I now invite you to join me in a time of reflection in word and in silence. Make yourself a little bit more comfortable. Remove any distractions you may have in your lap. If you are comfortable doing so, close your eyes so that you can go deeply into this moment. And these words are by my colleague, Kate Walker. This is In Between. In between, liminal, that space where we wait, between moments, events, results, action, no action. To stand on the threshold, waiting for something to end and something new to arrive. A pause in the rumble of time. Awareness claims us, alert, a shadow of something different. In between invitation and acceptance, in between symptom and diagnosis, in between send and receipt of inquiry and question, in between love given and love received. Liminality, a letting go, entering into confusion, ambiguity, and disorientation. A ritual begun, pause, look back at what once was, look forward into what becomes. Identity sheds a layer, reaches into something uncomfortable to wear. In between the lighting of the match and the kindling of oil. In between choosing of text and the reading of words. In between voices and notes carried through the air into ears to hear. In between creation thrust ever forward. Social hierarchies may disassemble and structures may fall. Communities may revolt or tempt trust. Tradition may falter or creativity crashes forward. Leaders may step down or take charge. The people may choose or refuse. In between, storm predicted, the horizon beacons. In between, theology of process reminds us to step back. In between, where minutiae and galaxies intermingle with microbes and mysteries. In between, liminal, that space where we wait, look, listen, feel, breathe. And let's hold that for a moment together in stillness. And will you please sing with me? When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. One more time. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. This community is a chosen village where our lives are interconnected, much like I was talking about in the sermon. Part of the tapestry of this communal journey is sharing the significant milestones, joys, and sorrows in our lives and witnessing the diversity that we hold. One of us may be celebrating a life event while another is mourning a grief. And there is a beauty in that mosaic as we are reminded that the moments of life are transient and ever-changing. And we have several joys and sorrows today. Judy Reynolds shares, I'm thrilled that Representative James Tallarico will be at Live Oak tonight from 6:30 to 8 to talk about the 14 questions on our November 7th ballot. Crystal shares, sibling Sam sold out their work conference, yay. Thoughts to a friend healing from a dark place. And it's pumpkin season, which I assume is a joy. Mark E. Anderson shares sorrow to hear of that John Durbin was injured. Celeste shares, I'm excited to go to our family's reenactment event at the end of the month. We have 300 participants. Okay, and Alex shares, I made it. I can't tell which chair. Yes, first chair? Chair. Oh, made it into choir. I was going, it's kind of early for that. Made it into choir at school. Yay. I will be sure and let our music director know. And Audrey McCann shares, I found out this week that my department at work is being laid off in November, but there is a joy of good severance. May this community draw closer with our shared experiences as we celebrate life's triumphs and navigate its trials together. So here's the other part of process theology, and that is it also gives us the idea that what we do has an impact not just in our lives, but on the very definition of God. No pressure, no pressure. As Henri Frederick Emile said, life is short. We don't have much time to gladden the hearts of those who walk this way with us, so be swift to love and make haste to be kind.
I'd like to Faith Development Hour today. This morning, our adults are going to be starting a 5-workshop program called Owning Your Religious Past. And it's about figuring out how your religious past makes you who you are today. Process theology. So that's in room 105, and that is being facilitated by Reverend Joanna and myself. So we'll see you at 11:15 in that classroom. That runs for an hour and a half. The kids, if you are pre-K through kindergarten, you're going to the nursery where you're going to be doing, studying the 7th principle and reading the Earth book and making a windsock. It sounds really fun. And if you're in 1st through 5th, you're going to go upstairs to room 201. Parents, please sign them in at 201, where we're going to be talking about transformation. And our teens are in room 209 with Cindy and Rosella, and they are working on their social justice project. So I'd like to invite you all to stay for the Faith Development Hour and expand on your faith. And I would like you to look at the wall in the fellowship hall where there are many opportunities for you to volunteer and step up to help us with the faith development program by facilitating. Just put your name down. You can say, yes, I'm in, or you can say, I need more information, and I will contact you, and we'll find the best fit for you. It's in helping others grow their faith, you grow your own. So we'll see you there.
So please join me in extinguishing our chalice with these words by Unitarian Universalist Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You're not alone. Let us leave this service with renewal of our spirit and a song in our heart. Please rise for hymn number 327, Joy Thou Goddess. It has been a gift to be together today. Please spend the next 5 minutes talking with someone you don't know. Show them where the visitor's table and the coffee are, and may we all know the blessings of friendship.